Oftentimes I'm embarrassed to say so because I do so much, but I literally take 80 supplements a day. Okay, and I know some other people do the same thing, like Ray Kurzweil and others, but I have them, every one of them. I understand exactly the mechanism, why I'm taking it, stuff like that. And I thank Dr. Sandra Kaufman a lot for that, because her books are just so informative on connect action. I can't learn everything, okay, because I'm focused on telomere biology, but she provides me with information that by reading her books that I can't get to. But I do yoga and meditation. I have my own yoga studio. I'm at work right now, and I have a yoga studio here at work that I use. What else do I do? I keep my sugar levels low. Getting to know Touchtone Essentials has changed my life too, because one of the first things I did was due diligence on all their products. Okay, what I'm really skilled at is something that I call critical meta-analysis of peer-reviewed studies, which means I can say you can find anything to support what you wish to be true in the peer-reviewed studies. So you can't necessarily believe something just because it's peer-reviewed. What I do, and you can do a meta-analysis, which means just look at all the papers that study the same thing and see what the consensus is. But then a lot of times marketers and stuff like that will find ways of getting things into the literature which will make the wrong things have more consensus, more papers saying the wrong thing than the right thing. So I do what's called critical meta-analysis. I have the ability to be able to look at a study, good at statistical theory. I minored in that in college. So I do the critical meta-analysis of peer-reviewed studies. And I even have started a podcast. It's called Up One, because I take it up a notch in terms of analyzing what's good and what's not. But I did the due diligence on Touchtone products, and they have a lot of products that I think are really good that I've gotten really religious with. They have this glucose control that converts sugar into fiber, and the fiber is good for you, sugar is bad for you, and so it works. I've done mechanism of action studies on the mechanism of actions. It really does work. Then there's zeolites, which will bind to heavy metals and other type of toxins and remove those. I'm a big believer in that. Fulvic acid, which is the active ingredient in Shilajit. I've always been a fan of Shilajit, but I've also been aware of the fact that Shilajit has a lot of side effects, things that cause side effects. So fulvic acid is really good. Nattokinase, heart health, things like that. So those are other things that I've started doing religiously. And believe me, I've worked with other companies like Touchtone and would touch any of their products just because I just never found anything really great about them. It's like that made me feel like they were Touchtone products. I'm a big fan of. Now I sound like a marketer. I don't want to do that.
It's okay. They're probably appreciating that.
But you asked me the questions like, what do I do? And I'm just trying to think of the more recent changes come first to mind. But think positively. I do have a degree in psychology, experimental psychology, when I was an undergrad, so I'm a big believer in psychology plays a big role. And I've developed a lot of cancer drugs in my past. In fact, I was National Inventor of the Year in 1998 for my cancer, and which is surprising to most because I'm so focused on aging. But I do consider it cancer and aging. But I was surprised in the clinical studies of some of these drugs how many people in the placebo group got cured of their cancers. It can only be that they believed they were taking the real drug and not the placebo, and that made them cure their own cancer. So I think having a very positive aspect on things and just leading a healthy lifestyle, pretty much everything your mother told you when you were is true. And stay away from like saturated fats and trans fats. Boy, those are terrible for you. High sugar. I tend to do that. I do have a fortunate benefit. I do have an identical twin brother. Okay, we have the exact same genetics. I don't know if he's done it intentionally or unintentionally, but he has not followed the same type of lifestyle that I have. So he and I are always comparing ourselves and stuff like that. I feel like I look 10 years younger than him. I hope he doesn't listen to this, but I do feel like I'm doing something right that he's not doing, and he is starting to do some of these things because his wife is getting upset with him for not looking as young as I do.
So I'm taking he doesn't run ultra marathons. No. He's not a vegan.
No. Well, he's now a vegan. He has become a vegan, and he's actually started a group on Facebook called the Squeaky Vegans. And that's because he's a big follower of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who actually promotes plant-based diet and also no oils. Okay, but that's mostly because oils cause, and I think the data is pretty good on this too. Oils, though they have health benefits, they also cause collateral arteries in your microvascular to collapse. Okay, so if you are somebody that has like a plaque buildup in your coronary arteries and suddenly it's clogged, you could actually not even know it if your collateral arteries and your microvascular are all open. Okay, because I've seen pictures where they've digested everything away, taken a heart and digested everything away except for the blood vessels, and the heart still looks like the original heart because there's so many blood vessels going through our heart. It's not just the 3 or 4 coronary arteries that we have. And so by keeping all those open helps your heart, and that's the reason for staying away from oil, even olive oil.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I've been hearing that a lot more lately about the effect that olive oil can have on collapsing those collateral arteries.
Yeah, but there's a lot of advantages to oils too. So it's like hard to choose. But I can't think of anything else that I do. But if you gave me a multiple choice, I could tell you yes, 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 and all.
Yeah, there's just too many choices, though. We could spend a whole podcast just walk through every multiple choice item, and have to go through the alphabet probably 5 or 6 times.
And once you know, you don't have to remember. You just stick with it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you just build those habits, and you do what works for you, and you just keep doing it consistently.
Like sleep.
So is there anything we missed talking about today?
Well, we didn't talk about sleep. You mentioned sleep, but I do make a very big point. I sleep with 2 sleep watches, and I make certain that I record every time when I go to bed. Don't get up until 7 to 8 hours later, just because I know the benefits. And oftentimes we'll record my sleep. This is where I get embarrassed because of the crazy stuff I do. I record my sleep because if I have sleep apnea or something like that, you can hear it. You don't need to go to a sleep study. You can actually hear yourself gasping for air and stuff like that. So I make certain that I have any of those kind of problems, etc.